Hello there, welcome back to Jennie Designs of Paper. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. I am making an art journal page that is super special to me, so get comfy and let's get crafting. This is the June Artsy Trio Facebook group mood board, and I was asked to curate the images for this mood board. I've selected travel documents because it's all about the travel. I've selected ice cream because June is ice cream month. Hydrangeas are the flower of the month, and alexandrite is one of the birthstones of the month. I've also selected pictures of places I've been to, where I currently live, and things I want to, or places I want to go. So the color tones are those emerald greens and purples and blues, and that's kind of where I'm going today. I have this piece of 12 by 12 scrapbook paper. It's an old die cuts with a view. It's a thicker scrapbook paper. It's also a textured. It's got a little bit of a linen texture to it. And I've trimmed it down to a 5.5 by 8-inch piece of paper. And to make this more palatable as an art journal page, I'm covering it with clear gesso. So clear gesso will put a coat on the top of this paper and make it a little bit more water medium friendly. Also, I forgot to tape down my Teflon mat, so it is just sliding all over the page and it's kind of a mess. To add that color palette, the purples, the greens, and the blues, I'm using my Dr. P.H. Martin's liquid watercolors. I swatched them out on this watercolor paper. This is a set I was given for Mother's Day, and I've put the colors I want to use into this palette. So I'm adding some clean water, and I'm dropping the watercolors in with, this is like a size 6 brush. I could have gone with a bigger brush. This brand in particular tends to hold a lot of water, so it was good for what I was trying to do. But I could have used a bigger one even, I think. I think I could have gone with like a number 8 or even a number 10. I think I have an 8 in my stash. I don't think I have a 10. Anyway, I digress. I am adding these colors. I'm trying to get them to kind of flow and blend together. I want them to be very fluid looking, but I also want them to kind of replicate that sky at night when the northern lights are shining. And the reason for that is because that is one of my to see like phenomenons, right? I want to see the northern lights. And one of the images on this mood board is actually a picture of Denmark, because that is like top on my list of places I want to go. Like my first travel, once our kids are out of high school and starting to get settled as adults, I want to go to Denmark. I want to go to Denmark. I want to see the places where my ancestors have been, and I want to see the northern lights. So I'm kind of using my heat tool here to blow things around and dry them. And I'm also going to use this Fine Tech gold watercolor palette. I'm using that. I'm adding a big pool of gold watercolor there, but also some watercolor splats. I also use that like kind of whitish platinum color gold, and it really does add some shimmer and shine to the page. So in real life, it's a little bit more visible than on camera. So for the background text, I've picked out 2 old Stampin' Up! Stamps for my stash. One is textures and the other is travel themed. From the travel themed, I picked up the manifest. It looks like a ship's manifest. I'm going to ink that up in archival jet black ink. Archival ink because it will not smear with anything else I put on the page, and that's important. I'm going to stamp it down a couple of times. Just to add that kind of text background. Now, this paper, like I said, is a linen paper, so it's a little bit weird to stamp on. I also grabbed that anchor from that stamp set, which I thought I was grabbing the compass rose, but it was the anchor, so whatever. You won't even see it when I'm done. And then from the other stamp set, I grabbed this kind of coffee cup ring or water cup ring, just for more stuff to, to make the background. So in my stash, I have a whole bunch of travel-themed printed out ephemera. And this pile is luggage tags. It's an image that I found online that I was able to download, and I have print them out onto some lightweight cardstock and cut them out. I will be going around the edges of these with sepia archival ink. I want to kind of hide that white core cardstock a little bit, just make it not... With the coloring on the background of the page, that white core will kind of stand out a little bit. So I'm going around all 3 of these tags that I've selected, plus this image here is another manifest image, and then I have a train time schedule. So once we go through all of that, we are going to add a little bit of washi tape. Now, to be fair, the washi tape was not really a necessary step. It's not super even visible, really. But it was travel themed, it was map themed, and I have this roll that's like 2.5 inches wide, and it's awesome. I need to use it to like make the background one of these days because that will be super cool. I also pulled from my stash a Tim Holtz. It's kind of a muted olive green kind of map picture image on the washi tape as well. Like I said, there's not really a rhyme or reason to this. It's just more texture in the background. You know, it is what it is. I'm not sure why I decided I needed it up at the top too, but I did, so I went with it. And that's kind of how art journaling goes for me. Like I pull a bunch of things out. Sometimes I use them all. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I use too many. Sometimes I don't use enough. So now I'm just kind of assembling my collage. I kind of went back and forth on folding that luggage tag, but decided just to slide that one back in the back. And once I have this collage how I want it to be, I'm going to pick the collage pieces up one at a time and glue them down on each other with some liquid adhesive so that eventually I can pick the whole collage cluster up at one time and then attach it to my page permanently. So this is the My Favorite Things glue tube. It's fine. It's liquid glue. It works. I haven't had any problem with it. I do find that it is a little bit, like the opening is a little bit wider than maybe I would want sometimes, but I have other options, so it works. It was one of those free with your purchase because I made a large order from My Favorite Things last, I don't know, a few months ago, and this kind of came with it, so I'm using it. It's fine. I'm not sure that you can really hate an adhesive, but I don't know if you can love an adhesive, right? All right, once I had that collage stuck down, I went through my ephemera, and I also have these little wooden pieces of travel, like cars, boats, and planes. So I pulled out 3 little chipboard planes, and I put some red acrylic paint, there we go, those are the words I'm looking for, onto my work surface, and I'm just using my reverse tweezers to kind of to change the color of those, to make them stand up off the page a little bit. It's a little bit tricky. They kept sliding all over the place. All the paint was coming off of my fingers. It was a little bit extra. And then when I pulled out my heat tool to dry them off, they were flying all over the place. It was a little bit silly. I'm going to use some liquid adhesive, and I put 1 dot on the page and then decided it would probably be wiser to put the glue on the back of the plane, just in case it went flipping out of those tweezers and didn't land exactly where I had that glue dot to begin with. So I've got a couple of different size planes here, 1 large one, 2 small ones, and we're just going to send them off into the wild blue yonder and let them take me on all of my fabulous desired destinations, right? So the thing that pulls this page together with the mood board is this quote I found from John Green, and it says, "I'm in love with cities I've never been to and people I've never met." And that's kind of how I feel about Denmark. So my dad's line, his Danish ancestors are like 6 generations immigrants. Okay, so not as recent as a lot of people, but the rest of my family lines go clear back to sometimes before the Revolutionary War. And I'm not sure if it is the closeness in time to this to this line of my ancestors or what it is, but I really do feel like I am being like this line of my family ancestry just kind of calls to me. I want to go to Denmark. I want to go to all the places, but if I can only pick one, I want to go to Denmark, and I'm not sure what that's all about, but that's okay. I'm in love with cities I've never been to and people I've never met. So we're going to go ahead and put the other half of this pattern paper onto the back of my art journal page here. And I am taking this really strong tearable adhesive all along the edges of the page. And that will keep the page in place instantly. And then I will add some more liquid glue to the center of the page, and that will make sure that it doesn't bubble up or separate over time. I'm going to use the pokey tool and pick off the release tape there before I put the liquid glue into the center, because I have done it the opposite way and it's a bit of a mess because you see where my hand is laying there? Right in the center of the page. Yeah, I have actually sat my hand in a pile of glue before, trying to do the liquid glue before I remove the release paper. So, it is what it is. We're going to go ahead and glue that on, and then we're going to pull out the Fiskars trimmer and trim off all of those edges, the borders now, to make sure that everything is all nice and trim. I like my Fiskars trimmer for this reason, because you can line that wire up right with the edge of the page and you get like the most perfectly precise cut. It's like perfect. So yeah, after we get the edges trimmed out, I'm going to pull out my 3-hole punch. I keep all of my art journals in A5 size binders. So I'm going to punch the holes in this so that once it's dry, I can get it into my binder. Then I am going to adhere the mood board printout onto the back. Like I said, these images were curated by me, and it was so much fun. And I was really pleased that Bea and the other ladies who run the group asked me to curate this mood board, and it was a lot of fun. I'm going to go ahead and sign and date it June, even though I'm making it before June, because it is the June board. So we're going to zoom in here a little bit so you can see that quote and maybe see some of that shiny, sparkly gold watercolor up in the top. So much better in real life. And thank you for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. I have a couple of other videos here I think you will like, as well as videos from the other ladies who have made videos for this mood board. They are linked down below. I've added that subscribe button. Leave me a comment. Tell me where you want to go. Where is your favorite place to travel? Give me a thumbs up and have a really great day.